This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.
Well, hello there and welcome to the latest Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo. I'm Joe Rimmer, and joining me today to discuss the Reds are tall Paul Gorst. How are you, Paul?
Very well, Joe, very well. Echo Christmas night out last night, wasn't it? So we're all feeling fresh, ready to fire on and have a little natter about the Reds.
You might be feeling fresh, but Theodore Sebastian Barnaby Squires, and that is just one person, by the way. He was in at 7 this morning. I don't know who would do such a thing as to row to him in at 7 after a Christmas night out.
I think he just come straight from Popwell, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I actually got in at 6:58. I was early.
You can tell, to be honest.
Yeah. It was like 3 hours sleep, I'm knackered. Yeah. And I'm still staying late to do this.
Yeah,
cancelled.
You know,
he does give up things for the cause. You've cancelled another date this weekend, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Anything for the cause.
This poor girl. How many times have you cancelled?
Going on record with this?
Yeah, going on record. How many times have you cancelled this? Third time. Yeah, she must be into you. To be fair to you, if you keep stringing her along, don't you? If you're listening, Theo's into you. What was her name?
Oh no, I'm not.
Should we give her a shout out?
If I'd done the first date already, but no, we haven't had that opportunity yet.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't want to pull her off.
That can be an exclusive for next time.
I think that ship sailed now.
Yeah. Well, you might notice the dulcet tones of Dan Kay on the end there. How are we, Dan?
I'm struggling like we all are, but we're putting a brave face on. Because it's Friday and it's the weekend and Liverpool are top of the league.
Yeah, I took Dan home last night, didn't I?
Shh. What happens on the night out stays on the night out. Yeah. You know that, John.
Well, Liverpool are top of the league, and Jurgen Klopp was doing his press conference today. Paul Gorst, you were down there.
Yes.
Was he a very happy man, having beaten Everton 5-2 on Wednesday night?
Yeah, he was. He was. Someone asked him about if you win tomorrow, you're going to be top of Christmas, and does that have any significance here? And he just played the straight back forward. He said, no, it doesn't really concern me who's top of Christmas. He was told the record that the last 3 teams who've been top of Christmas and not won the Premier League have all been Liverpool. And he just said that doesn't mean anything, different teams and whatever. Can
I just interrupt? I found that question fairly strange, because you do wonder what is he meant to say?
Exactly.
We're not. Well, if we win tomorrow, we're not going to win it again next year. Then I mean, it's not like there's not a great deal to say about that. It's unfortunate, but you'd rather be top at Christmas than not, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that was basically what he was getting at. But he said he wasn't really bothered about who's top at Christmas. It's more about who's top on May the 12th, is it, when the season ends? And he also mentioned a lot about resting players and recharging batteries and so on when he can, because obviously there were plenty of eyebrows raised when the team news dropped for the Merseyside derby and Klopp had made 5 changes, but I think he looked at it and took the emotion out of it. Didn't see it as Everton, seeing a team as struggling in the relegation zone and were in a really bad run of form, and Liverpool were at home. So his decision was obviously vindicated, and he was suggesting a little bit that not so much his judgment should probably be a bit more respected, but maybe the Liverpool do have the squad to be able to make these changes as and when, and the quality isn't too stark that, you know, Liverpool can get by in certain games by making these changes and giving players like Divock Origi and Xherdan Shaqiri and James Milner a little bit more of a run out than they'd normally get. That formed quite a lot of what he was saying today, I thought.
Yeah, Theo, we looked at the team sheet on Wednesday night, and everyone was shocked, and everyone reacted with horror that some of Salah could be on the bench and Firmino could be on the bench, but as Gorsty said, then Klopp sort of took a cool head, stepped back and said, right, let's not think of them as Everton, let's think of them as another team, a struggling side. It's almost as if a European Cup winning manager knows what he's doing, isn't it?
I wouldn't go that far. It's a relief, isn't it? Because for so long, the front 3 have been the 3 that don't get rotated. Yeah. And we've seen in the last few weeks, it's caught up on them. Obviously, Salah's been struggling with his ankle injury. Yeah. Firmino's got, 1 goal in 2 months. Yeah. And Mane, as he keeps saying, just powers through. He doesn't get tired. So he's obviously superhuman. But the other 2 have been feeling it. And it's all right saying in one-off games, you can throw Shaqiri in or you could throw Origi in. But to make this whole number of changes he did, and for him to get the job done so well, it's testament to the squad. And like we always look at Man City when their teams are announced going, that's a good bench, and you always think Liverpool don't have that depth, but you look at these players and they are good enough. They do have that depth. Maybe the fans don't have the faith in like Adam Lallana or someone like that in the past, but now when Klopp does give them the opportunities, they do prove themselves, and it's a very good sign going into this Christmas period and the rest of the season. And if we're going back to the top of the table question, I think the most shocking thing about that is that they can already secure top spot 3 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah,
that was
thought
crazy.
that, yeah.
That's when it said it, it's like, what? We're not even a week into the month yet. It's mental.
Yeah, Dan, were you? Does that give you confidence seeing the way they played and the changes that they made on Wednesday night? That those players, I mean, well, does it give you more confidence, A, in Liverpool's title challenge, and B, in the players that will now probably play a lot of football over Christmas?
Yes and yes. I will elaborate. I think I've already said to when we've been sitting around talking, I think Wednesday night might actually prove to be one of the most significant results of Liverpool's season. Not just because they scored 5 goals for the first time in a derby since I think 1982 when Rush got 5, Rush got 4, the famous
It's the first
one.
time at Anfield since '65, I think.
Yeah, the year after we lost 4-0 at home. Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
No, but it was well documented because they won 4-0 at Anfield, and then Shankly was desperate to go one better the year after, and he did.
So you couldn't get a ticket that day?
How old do you think I am, Rimmer? No, the reason why I do think it will be significant is because, as you have alluded to there has been this perception, within the Liverpool fan base, but also externally as well, that outstanding first 11 or first 14 or 15 maybe, but scratch beneath the surface, and maybe there isn't the depth of quality there. Now, obviously, it has to be couched by the fact that, without disrespecting them too much, Everton are not, to use the modern parlance, in a good moment, and that's putting it mildly. But it was still a derby match. Liverpool, as well as we've been doing, I think no one would make any great claims to say they've been firing on all cylinders. The last few games have been a bit of a struggle. So to play with the kind of the verve and the authority they did throughout the match, certainly in midfield and going forward. I mean, obviously we looked a bit shaky at the back and conceded 2 goals again. I just think it sent a great message out, not just to the rest of the squad that there will be opportunities for them, but also to the main men that don't rest too easy on your laurels, because there are lads here that are hungry, quality, and ready and waiting to come in and do a job as and when required.
Well, they were 5 stupendous goals, weren't they? As Sam Carroll would say. What I want to know from each of you, which one was your favourite and why? Because they were just magnificent. Every one you could make a case for. So go on, Gorst, you first.
My favourite goal was Shaqiri's. It was just Liverpool. They do it all the time. Actually, they're just so good at counter attacking. I'd go as far as to say they're the best counter attacking team in world football. And as soon as Trent Alexander-Arnold pinged that crossfield pass that he does so well, and Mane controlled it instantly, you knew defence had been turned into attack in seconds, and then he drifts inside, and you think maybe it's opened up for a shot, and then he just feeds in Shaqiri, who tucks it away first time. Fantastic goal. I think I said in either the blog or the verdict that it was a goal that was out of this world. It really was a superb one.
Theo?
I thought you were going to go for Origi second, as you keep comparing it to Thierry.
Well, that's the point I was making, isn't it? Could quite easily have gone for that, yeah.
Yeah, mine's Shaqiri's as well, but it's the fact that he hasn't played for so long. It's like, he's back. And he's a player that, even if he's not the quality of, say, Mane and that, he gets you excited. Yeah. And to see him come in and have that moment when he's not played for so long. Yeah. And it was just the run, the fact that he just peeled across the defence, left them, and it's just, the chance there, and it's almost out of nothing. Brilliant goal.
He's got a knack of getting goals, getting assists, even if he's not involved that much, because I think that was his first touch.
He barely got a touch.
He barely got a touch. Half, yeah. And he's got that knack, though, hasn't he, of being involved in important moments, hasn't he, Theo? Yeah,
if you look through his whole Liverpool career, it's just the moments, isn't it? Yeah. And that's probably why he doesn't start the games, because that's all he provides, but that's what you remember. All
right, Dan, go on, your favourite.
I loved them all. I'm going to have to pick one of Divock Origi's, because I thought, even though he's obviously already an eternally cult figure amongst Liverpool supporters, I thought Wednesday night was his best performance in a red shirt. Aside from the 2 magnificent finishes, he led the line like a centre forward. He was big, he was strong. Yerry Mina is a big, old, tough international Colombian centre half, and he bullied them at times. The 2 goals, it's very hard to choose between them. I loved the first one. I'd seen a tweet afterwards, someone going, all that was missing was Craig Johnson sliding on the goal line, because it was very reminiscent of Ian Rush's equaliser at Wembley in the '86 Cup final. But I am going to have to go for the third one, I think, because Gorst has compared it to Thierry Henry, and I don't think that is overstating it, to be honest. The way he plucked Dejan Lovren's magnificent pass out the air was absolutely top draw, but then the finish itself would have been, it would have been very easy just to knock that over the bar. Yeah. And it was just a world class finish from a lad who was rapidly proving to be a world class performer, and hopefully a night like you get the impression with Origi, maybe a bit of a sensitive soul, and he needs a bit of confidence sometimes. Even though what he's done, plenty of people could dine out forever on a fraction of what he's done in the last 18 months. But but to put in he came off, didn't he? He was subbed because I remember saying I really wanted to get his hat-trick here, and then about 2 minutes later he got subbed. But for the 70, 75 minutes, however long he was on the pitch, to my mind, it was his best performance in a Liverpool shirt, and I hope he can really take a lot of confidence from that and kick on.
He had a good season last season,
yeah.
But it was more. Is it fair to say it was more about moments last season? Whereas that reminded me of the Origi. Do you remember the little run he had when they beat Dortmund and in the derby?
Until Funes Mori crocked him,
That's what it reminded me of when everything was coming together. He looked a threat. He was making runs in behind. He was holding it up well. Would you go along with that?
Absolutely, and that it was very, very unfortunate what happened then, and he then had a kind of a later that same year, kind of like the autumn, early winter of 2016, I can remember, a couple of goals against Sunderland and Leeds in the League Cup, and a great goal, ironically, away to Bournemouth from a narrow angle.
Middlesbrough as well.
Middlesbrough, we won 3-0 there.
Yeah.
But then it kind of tailed off. I remember him scoring at West Ham in the game that we had to win, basically to put us in prime position to qualify for the Champions League. And it seemed like his Liverpool career was over, really. He got packed off to Wolfsburg. Didn't he get voted like the worst Bundesliga 11 over there?
Yeah, he got relegated.
And I think
he scored one goal, didn't he? I think.
Gorst, I think you wrote a piece earlier in the week, basically before the derby match, saying, could this derby be for Shaqiri what last year's Anfield was for Origi? And I thought they made the point very well that
whoever thought that idea, right? Whoever came up with that idea.
Wow.
I made silk from a here, I think.
No iron team, Joe. But the point remains that, in that Anfield derby last season, when Liverpool was struggling, Everton had arguably been the best team, or certainly had been more than worth a point. And I remember, I don't think I was the only person to think when Origi came on with, 10, 15 minutes to go last December, thinking, what's he going to do here? Yeah. And then obviously that eternal moment when Jordan Pickford, God bless him, in his little arms, off the crossbar. And it changed history, didn't it, for both clubs? Our trajectory has gone that way and their trajectory has gone that way. And it was, but a lot of it is down to Origi's desire, professionalism, just now's common sense. It's what the first thing you're told when you kick a ball at 5 years old, if you're playing up front, follow the ball in. You never know. And because one in a million, I mean, it would be, for that to happen, it is 1 in a million, isn't it? Goalkeepers lose it sometimes, but it paid off, and his career's never looked back.
And he missed the sitter just before it as well.
He had a chance. It was a chance. I can't remember it too clearly, but even though he was only on the pitch less than 10 minutes, he was involved.
Yeah, I remember seeing him come on against Red Star Belgrade, and it was probably Liverpool's worst performance of last season. And when he was coming on, it was like, is this how bad it's got? Origi's coming on. We haven't seen him for how long. And that was his first appearance since the 3-3 against Watford on the opening day of the season before. And then when he come on the derby, the same thing, but in the Premier League. It's like, is this how desperate Liverpool got to turn into Divock Origi? And since he scored that goal against Everton, he's completely transformed his Liverpool career, hasn't he? Chipped in with so many massive moments, iconic moments that we're all going to be talking about for years to come. And he was fantastic on Wednesday night.
It's just crazy to think how he'd fallen down the pecking order. Like, you think Dom Solanke was ahead of him.
Ings, Sturridge.
Sturridge. It's like, Sturridge at the moment, but you could never rely on his body to stay fit. And Origi's now the go-to man, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's arguably going to pull Liverpool through this period if Salah's ankle keeps letting him down. Firmino's not quite getting the goals.
Well, a man who probably needs a slice of Origi's determination and perhaps luck is Naby Keita. Paul, you wrote about him yesterday. £50 million, 7th choice midfielder, I think you called him. And all right, maybe that isn't exactly true, but he slipped down that pecking order, hasn't he? And he was the change that Klopp said he wasn't brave enough to make.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. I should have been more brave, because what does that mean? That he's obviously picking the team that he thinks is good enough to win, and Keita didn't feature in that. But it's an interesting one with Keita, isn't it? It seems like we discuss him a lot on these pods, and he's always a figure that's intriguing to us all, and we're still waiting for his big moments 18 months on after his £52 million move from Leipzig, and still waiting for him. Because his transfer was an unusual one, wasn't it? It was one where Liverpool agreed it a year in advance, and so Liverpool fans have been waiting for so long for this big take-off moment, and still it goes on. It's interesting to note the Klopp has basically picked every other central midfielder since he last started a game against Genk in the Champions League. So that, by that logic, it was that, you know, he is 7th choice at the moment. Probably, maybe a little bit facetious, but he's certainly not someone who's first choice at the moment. Maybe with Fabinho being out injured, okay, they're not like for like at all, but they're both central midfielders. If someone else is going to fill in for Fabinho, maybe that'll open up a slot for him somewhere over the next few weeks. And yes, he does need an Origi moment, shall we say, something that's just something to cling to, something to build on, and I'd suggest it's probably going to come soon.
Is the clock ticking for him now, Theo? Do you think Liverpool will at some point say, right, we tried and it didn't work?
I think if he doesn't have the moment soon, you've got to consider that. It's one way, if you look at Klopp's record in the transfer market, Michael Edwards is that, if it wasn't so good, would we have already written him off as a flop? It's just because you always expect the players to come through. And if you look back to Rafa's period, any player like that who came in and they didn't deliver, he was very quick to just say, right, I've given up on him, like Robbie Keane, just moved him on. And with Naby Keita, maybe it's partly because they waited a year to get him, because the transfer fee, it was a lot at the time, but it's not that big in the market now compared to what you'd imagine for a big money midfielder. And he's just not delivering. Like, he's all very good with the ball at your feet, running at Huddersfield defences like that and causing them problems, but he wasn't signed to be that player. He was signed to bring big moments against the big teams. And when you've got someone like, say, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain coming in and doing it after so long out injured, or Adam Lallana when he's been injured for so long delivering more, it's just, hard to see him get that opportunity. And if he can't take this moment over this Christmas period, how is he going to get that chance? Like you mentioned, Origi last season, this was when he grabbed that opportunity. It's pretty much now or never.
Dan, you go along with that? I mean,
yeah, you do feel that kind of like the next month or so, obviously, with this enormous programme of fixtures Liverpool have got, will be kind of the defining period for Naby Keita. We are, because of the year in advance build that we were all watching. Leipzig he was playing, wasn't it? Leipzig games on the Bundesliga and following the reports, and everyone was dead excited. And the debut against West Ham, he started really well. I think he created the opening goal of the season for Salah, didn't he?
Yeah. There's a player in there. I think,
undoubtedly.
You know, even if it doesn't come out at Liverpool, I'm fairly certain he'd go somewhere else. And
sometimes it just doesn't work at clubs.
And sometimes that's not necessarily anybody's fault.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's just the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm not giving up on him yet. It does seem like, you know, one of the major problems that stopped him being able to kind of get any kind of run in the team is that he seems to be constantly picking up either illness or injury, or, you know, he's virtually every couple of weeks. I'd love to actually see if anyone had the time and the inclination to go through the records and see just how many times has he been ruled out, because it does seem a disproportionately large number. But if he can get himself fit, I remember Klopp saying earlier in the season, you know, his English is better now, so he seems to understand tactically what's being asked of him. And we do need that kind of player from the midfield. But yeah, I would absolutely go along with what the lads have said. The nature of, and to be honest, not just December, January, particularly if we get through against Villa, you know, there's aside from, you know, an FA Cup third round Merseyside derby, potentially two-legged Carabao Cup semi-final, the first two league games after Sheffield United on the 2nd are Tottenham away and Man United at home. So really it's 2 massive months for Liverpool, and every corner of this squad is going to be needed. So maybe this is the time that Naby steps up. Let's hope so.
Bournemouth tomorrow then. One man who won't be able to play, Paul Gorst, is Harry Wilson. Won't be able to play against his parent club. Klopp, I thought, was very interesting in his press conference today. He said, we know how good he is in terms of scoring goals and taking free kicks, but he went to Bournemouth to improve in other areas of his game. It seems like he's getting the football, and it seems like he is improving. What are your thoughts on Harry Wilson, and do you think there's still a future for him at Liverpool?
Well, Klopp got asked that in the breakout bit with the print press, so that'll be online this evening and in the paper tomorrow. And he delves on that a little bit further and basically says that there's no doubt about his shooting. He's a world class shooter, if that's what you want to call him. He said, name me 5 players who can shoot better than him, and you won't be able to. But there are other aspects of the game that needs improving on, and I think that's fair when you're playing in a Liverpool front line. You need to be more than just someone who's going to get it and have a belt every time you get a chance. You look at someone like Sadio Mane, who just seems to dovetail with everyone in that team. But yeah, he does seem to be, from the outside looking in, he does seem to be doing well at Bournemouth. Scored a couple in midweek, didn't he, when they got beat. I think he scored against Newcastle, was it, a couple of weeks ago? And
he's got like 2 goals in goal of the month.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously great for the highlight reel, isn't he, with the free kicks and the shots. So there's certainly a player in there. I'd say he's on the cusp of maybe, is he a squad player at Liverpool, or is he someone who might be able to fetch them a half decent transfer fee? I suppose we'll find out in the summer what the plan is for that. But if Harry Wilson was coming on for Liverpool in a League Cup game, or an FA Cup, or someone further down the league, I don't think at this point watching him he'd have too many worries, because I think he is a decent player, if not top level.
Yeah, I must admit, Theo, I didn't think he'd be able to do it in the Premier League. I mean, I say that I thought he would be able to play for sort of a mid-table club like Bournemouth, but I didn't think he'd quite be this good, and he's played very well. Is he a lesson of patience for players? He's 22 now, Harry Wilson. He seems to have been around. I think he made his Wales debut at the age of 15 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But is he a lesson of patience and allowing players to slowly develop and make that step up slowly?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why they've made it under-23s football instead of under-21s football, because you don't get the players thrown in the teenage years now. They need game time, and it's just the way football is now. You don't trust an 18-year-old unless they're world-class at that age. You get the games gradually, and you're seeing clubs now loan players out more and more until they get into the mid-20s, and then it's, do you run out of time, run out of patience with them, or do you give them that opportunity? The only times you can think of, say, at the moment, Chelsea, they've had to give the young players opportunities, and with the football, they're doing well. They've probably been their star players this year. And Tammy Abraham's grabbed his opportunity out on loan in the past.
Another man that I wrote off, Tammy Abraham. Sorry, Tammy.
And he's been one of the star strikers of the division this year. So maybe Wilson could step up and be that man, but like Gorst said, it's the cusp, isn't it? He's not going to go into that starting 11. It's maybe if Shaqiri wants to move on, he could be in that role. But he's got a Euro 2020 to look forward to now. Is he going to want to just be a squad player off the back of what could be quite a nice summer for him with Wales? He's at that age now where we want him to play football.
It's a good point Theo makes about Shaqiri, because we've just said that Shaqiri is a man of moments, perhaps isn't somebody that puts it together right throughout the game. Do you think that, Dan, that Harry Wilson will be eyeing that sort of spot in the squad?
I think if he's realistic, yeah. I mean, he can't be expecting how, even if he scores another 40 goals between now and the end of the season for Bournemouth, he's just going to come back in August and replace Salah or Firmino or Mane. But, I would concur with what the lads have said. He's first off last season at Derby County, at the Championship level, he put in some big performances there against Premier League teams in cup competitions. I remember a great free kick at Old Trafford, I think, in the League Cup. He's then made a step up to play, regularly for a Premier League team, and is delivering with goals and assists and becoming a regular contributor for them. The next step, I suppose, is I think he's proved himself to be a Premier League player. There's a difference between being a Premier League player for Liverpool, a Premier League player for Bournemouth, and a Premier League player for Liverpool, when the expectation level, when you're expected to win every single game, when drawing a game can feel catastrophic. That is a whole different ball game, and whether he's got the mentality as much as anything else to be able to cope with that burden of expectation, we may well see next season. But having seen how well he's done this season, I'm quite grateful for the rule that players can't play against the parent club, because he could
score against Liverpool.
Yeah, well, exactly. He could do some serious damage tomorrow if he was playing. So I'm glad he's not.
It's funny old place Bournemouth, isn't it? Because I almost have bad memories just because of one game, that game when Liverpool were 3-1 up.
2-0 and 3-1.
2-0 and 3-1, yeah. And that was the game where Origi scored, and it was a brilliant goal.
From a wide angle.
Scored a great goal in that game. Yeah. But it's been a fairly happy hunting ground for Liverpool, hasn't it, since they've been promoted? I mean, 4-0 win last season.
And the season
before.
They
won, sort of merged into one.
They won the FA Cup. Do you envision too many problems tomorrow, Gorsty? Do you think it's a sort of standing game now?
Yeah, I don't see too many problems. It's not a place where, somewhere like Burnley, where you just associate with being tricky and tough.
It's funny that actually, just to interrupt, I saw Andrew Beasley, who does stats, for a great stat the other day. Everyone thinks that Palace and Burnley are these two really difficult places to go, and they've won one in the last sort of however many attempts against the big six, and it's just not anywhere near as tricky as people make out. But do continue.
It's one of those things.
You wrong.
It wasn't so much me saying that. It's more like something that it feels like it, doesn't it? Even though Burnley aren't great at all. I watched them against Manchester City the other night, and I thought they were terrible. But Bournemouth doesn't feel like a tough place to go. It seems very nice and gentle, and Bournemouth will try and have a little game of football with you.
Sausage dog on the side.
Yeah,
makes me happy.
Bournemouth will try and have a little bit of a game against you, and if they do that against Liverpool, they'll come unstuck. So hopefully there's not too many problems at the Vitality tomorrow. I think if Liverpool show up, then they'll win, and that's what they'll need to do.
Do you think there'll be a bit of rotation? Theo?
Back to the original 11, you'd imagine.
Do you think so? Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think he'll sort of might go halfway house sort of thing.
You'd imagine he'll put Salah back in because it's a team he loves scoring against.
Yeah.
Get him some bit of form there. Didn't get a hat trick there last season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Get
Get his confidence up a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, it's a weird one because you wouldn't fear them, but because they're in this bad place at the moment, losing games. Eddie Howe never seems to learn his lesson against Liverpool. He always wants to try and play against them, and after so many thrashings when they're not playing well at the moment, is it a time where they change that up? But then Liverpool just win games anyway now.
Yeah.
And it's who do you put in to grab that opportunity to make sure that doesn't happen, because you want someone who's sharp and fresh. Can you really go to Divock Origi? Great performance. You're on the bench.
Yeah.
Shaqiri. It's tough calls, but maybe that could be the front three. Salah, Shaqiri.
Yeah.
Origi was one that was missed.
Yeah,
out.
maybe
Origi.
give Mane a rest for ahead of his return to Salzburg on Tuesday. Yeah.
Perhaps Bournemouth aren't capable of changing it up like that, Dan. Perhaps that they've got a way of playing, and that then they're not able to sort of dig in.
I'm a bit wary about doing Eddie Howe's team talk for him, to be honest. You know,
I'm sure
they might end up putting this podcast up in the dressing room beforehand, the old-fashioned
playing
way
it
they
over
used
the
to put.
speakers.
Dom still
Best
he's
thing,
a
by the
very
way,
good player.
The best thing about Bournemouth by far is David Squires' illustration of Eddie Howe's head. If you've not seen it and you don't know who David Squires is,
Guardian
he's the
cartoon is
Guardian
class.
cartoonist.
No relation.
He's absolute no relation to Theodore Sebastian Barnaby Squires, but he is absolutely fantastic. Just go and have a look at his work. Type in David Squires on Google, but type in David Squires Eddie Howe, because it's the greatest thing in the world. I want a full blown like poster of Eddie Howe's face from your wall.
That shows Secret Santa sources.
I think when we tweet these pods out later, we'll have to include David in one of our tweets. And see if he has a listen.
See if he jumps on it. Yeah.
But
That can be one of the little
okay,
clips.
should we pick our team for Bournemouth? Was there something you wanted to say, Dan? You look
not doing
I
anything.
think there was, but then you sidetracked me with Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe's head.
No, well, yeah, no, there was actually.
Settle in, lads. It's going to be a long one.
No, only very quickly. It's Liverpool should win. Liverpool would expect to win. I very much hope Liverpool will win. But Bournemouth have lost, I think it's 4 straight games. And another little aspect to it, and I just literally heard it driving in now. Obviously, Eddie Howe has now been linked with the vacant Everton role, and he spoke about it in his press conference earlier on today, and said he felt it was disrespectful for his name to be linked, disrespectful to Bournemouth as a club for him to be linked with that. So that's just another little kind of feature to the to the context building up to the game that Liverpool should be aware of. There's always that wounded tiger syndrome. But I think obviously we're getting onto teams now. I think Klopp will pick a team to get the job done. Obviously, he mentioned in his press conference it's difficult, the tight turnaround with 72 hours effectively from Wednesday to Saturday from the Derby match. But also it hurts going forward as well. Because we didn't beat Napoli, they must get a result in Salzburg, because the thought of dropping into the Europa League on Thursday nights is not someone that anyone wants in the new year, is it? So we very much need 3 points tomorrow, but we also very much need at least a point and hopefully 3 in Austria on Tuesday.
We'd have to change Echo football nights again.
Oh, God.
Beware the wounded cherries.
cherry.
The pop cherries. Beware the pop cherries.
Steady.
Should we pick our teams?
Go on.
In goal, Alisson's back.
Yeah, Alisson back in. Yeah.
Served his 1 game ban. Defence.
Trent.
Yeah, Trent.
Robertson, Lovren, Van Dijk. Anyone?
Going to have to be.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be. Anyone want to make changes? Joe Gomez, maybe?
I'm half tempted to give Gomez a game, possibly even a centre-back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see him as a right back again.
Lovren's been playing so well, though, as well. And centre-halves, you feel, do well for just having game time. They're not...
Could you rest Virgil van Dijk? Would it be an insult to Bournemouth? Would the world stop turning on its axis? Listen, he's a magnificent footballer, the best defender I've ever seen play for Liverpool. But he was a bit lucky not to give a penalty away the other night. I'm not saying it was a nailed-on one, but I've seen them given. I think we all have. And there's a lot of games. It's just taken as Van Dijk plays every game. He's a human being. he gets tired. It's not just the physical tiredness, I always say, it's the mental tiredness as well. So I just think Joe Gomez is an outstanding young footballer who needs more football in his legs. We are going to need him this season. Yeah. And he hasn't, he struggled in the Napoli game, we all saw that, but that doesn't mean he's finished. So I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp tries to get Gomez in there,
Well, you made a really good case for it, but no, I want Van Dijk in the team from now until the rest of the time. When he's 80, I want him to just wheel him out and say, stand there, head that and cross away.
Bench's games will be very different then.
Midfield, I suppose it's a difficult one that you're going to give Naby Keita that chance.
I am, yeah.
You are, yeah.
I think after all our talk about him, I'm going to have to
convince you. He played well there last year, didn't he?
He did, yeah. That was part of me thinking. That was kind of the game when him and Fabinho started to show what they could do.
Yeah.
And obviously Fabinho's just carried that on, but I'll name Keita. The tough one is what to do with the Fabinho role, because I think Wijnaldum and Henderson can both play it.
Henderson had a rest, didn't he? So
yeah, you think he'd come back in, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I'll go Keita, Henderson, Wijnaldum.
Yeah, I'll go along that. Theo?
I reckon Henderson is the deep one after his rest. Oxlade-Chamberlain.
You go for Ox instead of
Keita. But I'd probably rest Genie as well, because he's had a lot of football. Played Milner or Lallana.
So Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Henderson is your midfield. Dan?
Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Keita.
Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain.
The midfield that we will never see again.
Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, they played there against Genk, was it? In Champions League, and it looked so exciting.
But
that's when they had Fabinho.
There was so many. Yeah, there was quite a lot of space left from that.
And it is very different when you've got Fabinho. He just runs everywhere.
I kind of get the impression. I kind of, to my mind, I think it's maybe one of those games. We've won there 4-0 the last 2 seasons. Let's go in, blitz them, get the game won early.
Yeah.
So you want 8-0?
Yeah, that'll do me. And then they can, hopefully conserve, manage the game and conserve a bit of energy for Tuesday.
So
I wouldn't play the natural front three either.
No. We'll find out in a second. Theo, we know you're going to go for Origi, Salah and Shaqiri, because that's what you suggested before. I perhaps wouldn't go for that, because which side would...
Salah up front.
Salah through the middle.
Because he caused them so many troubles last year. Origi on the left, because he's done that and caused them troubles as well, and then Shaqiri on the right.
Okay.
It's difficult to say to Origi after that performance in the derby. Now you're on the bench. I've got to start him. I just don't know what to do on either side. I'm going to go Origi down the middle, Salah and Mane.
Dan?
I'm going to go Origi, Salah, Firmino.
I think I'm going to go with Dan. I think Shaqiri, as unfair as it is, it always feels like he's going to be the fall guy just because of this.
He's still going to I still think he's going to play plenty of football this month.
Yeah.
But I think he played the full 90, didn't he? And that was like in his first start. Yeah. So even just physically, I think it might be a big ask to ask him to go.
But I think it's good though for the first time that we're actually having quite a bit of a debate on the team, because for so long it was just the only other thing was who's playing in midfield.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, you going for 8-0?
No, a bit more circumspect this week. 7.
7. It's a 7. 2-1. Everyone else
4-0. 4-0 hat trick.
4-0. Yeah.
Why not?
Who's got the hat trick?
If we win 4-0, it would be the third successive season we've won 4-0 there in the league, wouldn't it?
Who's got the hat trick?
Origi.
A hat trick of 4-0.
A hat trick of 4-0. But go on, I'll go for a big div hat trick as well. Why not?
All right, fair enough.
3-1. Liverpool don't keep clean sheets anymore, so 3-1.
That is true. But I think they will tomorrow. I'm going to go with Dan, actually, 4-0, another one. Quite convincing. Don't really see too much of a threat, if I'm honest, if Liverpool show up and play properly.
Solanke is going to score now.
Yeah, I mean, surely this is going to be quite a routine one.
Well, I'm going to partner up with Theo, unless he cancels on me, which is really and go with 3-1. So, some confident Reds, right? Well, I hope that does it. We'll be back on Monday to discuss, hopefully, a big win at Bournemouth and look ahead to what is a very, very crucial game in Salzburg. See you then. Ta-ra.